Welcome to Well Coached, a podcast about how people, sales, profit, and self can transform your business. I'm your host, Chris Weinberg, and I have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs get into their highest productivity zone and become corporate enough to succeed. Let's get into today's episode. Hey team, welcome back to the Well Coached podcast, where we talk about all things business, entrepreneurial, and how to get your business to act corporate enough while maintaining enough creativity to keep you in love with the business. We do that by focusing inside of 4 pillars: people, sales, profit, and self. Working on skill set development within each one of those will catapult your business into something that will thrive and that you will like doing. Today, we're going to focus on situational leadership in action, specifically leading a team through a crisis. There's a saying out there I heard a long time ago, and I don't know who to credit for it because I can't remember who said it, but it goes like this. Every company is either heading toward a crisis, in the middle of a crisis, or coming out of a crisis. Therefore, strong leadership is key to navigating these moments successfully. Business is ever changing, and being able to adapt to rainy days is a skill set that great leaders develop over the course of time. Situational leadership is crucial. You've got to be able to adapt your approach depending on the crisis stage and the needs of their team. And gosh knows we've been through some crisis over the last 4 or 5 years. We'll dive into that a little bit too. What we'll cover today is how to apply situational leadership principles to guide your team through turbulent times using our framework of people, sales, profit, and self. The way that I recommend you do this is that we are big believers in Ken Blanchard and his SL2 model, also known as situational leadership. And what situational leadership requires is adjusting your leadership style based on the team's readiness and competence level on whatever crisis comes along. We've talked about SL2 and situational leadership before on this podcast, but recall there are 4 basic styles of leadership: directing. That would mean instructing and taking charge when the crisis is unfolding. Coaching, that would mean offering guidance while still maintaining some control. Supporting, that would mean encouraging autonomy while monitoring progress. And then finally, delegating, allowing experienced team members to lead. So if you've been in business for a few years, or if you've been an employee in a business for a few years, you probably went through COVID inside of that business. And you think about how the experience through COVID really unfolded with all 4 of these styles, right? Directing up front. What are we going to do? How do we get out of the office? How do we work from home? Right? Folks start learning that a little bit. It switches to a coaching type leadership while you're still directing. Hey guys, we need cameras on. Hey, we still work 9 to 5 or whatever your company's policies may have been. But you're starting to give some guidance and flexibility while maintaining control. As time goes by, some folks got really good at working remotely. Some of us are terrible at it. Some of us are really good at it. You may be able to apply a flexible leadership strategy at that point, which is more of a support behavior, encouraging autonomy while still monitoring progress. And then finally, delegating. Some of us during COVID just got it. We didn't need a boss to pat us on the back. We didn't need constant oversight or directing type behavior. And the smart leaders recognize that and just get into a delegation mode. So COVID is like a prime example of the stages of different leadership styles that may be needed during a crisis. Want to understand yourself and the people around you like never before? If you've been listening to me talk about the DISC profile, then you know how powerful it can be. But now it's time to take it a step further. Introducing my DISC Profile Mastermind Series, a one-of-a-kind in-person experience designed to crack the code to better relationships, better communication, and ultimately better results. In this exclusive mastermind, I'll be sharing expert insights on how you and the people around you can work best for growth, success, and even profit. Whether you're leading a team, building stronger personal relationships, or just trying to navigate everyday interactions, this is your chance to level up. This mastermind begins May 15th, but here's the thing. This mastermind has very limited space, and it's happening live at the Nashville City Club, right in the heart of the city where business meets creativity. To reserve your spot today, head over to wellcoachedconsulting.com. Spaces are going to fill up fast, so don't wait. That's wellcoachedconsulting.com, where understanding each other isn't just a theory, it's the key to unlocking the next level of your business. Leading people through a crisis. Assessing team needs becomes the paramount thing. Identify who needs more direction and who can take ownership. Whenever tough moments happen, there are those of us who may get paralyzed in the moment because we haven't crossed that bridge before, or we may have more of a fear-based type mentality. And then there are some folks who say, whatever, let's go, whatever the mission is. The leader being able to identify who they're dealing with in terms of a confidence level, a commitment level, and a competence level means the world here. One size does not fit all when you're leading people. We've used the term before here of nothing is so unequal as the equal treatment of unequals. People are different. People come to different situations in their own way based on their own experiences. And as a leader, being able to assess that and diagnose how am I meeting this person during this crisis is a real game changer that requires a not one-size-fits-all strategy. Empathetic communication becomes a really big deal in a crisis, being as transparent as humanly possible while keeping morale high. Oftentimes I'll see companies hit a speed bump or a crisis, and they don't involve their team members in it. They try to internalize it, maybe, don't share enough information, which at that point just creates massive fear in the organization. People may start leaving too soon, maybe get paralyzed, maybe spend the day gossiping about what's going on versus really knowing what's going on. All of that responsibility falls back on the leader. Now, if you want to do a little deep dive on this part specifically of leading people through a crisis, easily to go Google or find a book on Howard Schultz. Starbucks, back in his time as leader, hit some major financial crises, and with a combination of direct leadership and team empowerment, he was able to get that company turned around. And there's some casebook studies in there to go Google and figure out if that's some deeper dive that you'd like to do. So that's the people side of leading through a crisis. The sales and profitability part, crisis response plan is paramount. I've got one good friend that I've known for 15 years, and as she built her business, she learned very early on that she had a playbook in place, and that playbook had if-then scenarios, and I thought it was brilliant. And what would happen with her is if rainy days came, and rainy days always come, there was no emotion involved in the decision-making process because they had given forethought with a crisis response plan. If this scenario happens, here are the levers we pull to have survival of the enterprise to get through whatever crisis. And that manual grew over time because through the decades of owning that business, she crossed different bridges. And so things that she couldn't anticipate and had to actually go through, she would go back and log it to where if we cross this bridge again, we can take emotion out of the way and let the system take over. I thought that was a brilliant plan, and I'll try to copy it everywhere that I work. Reassuring clients and customers is another biggie. Proactive communication builds trust. Every business takes lumps. That can be external things they can't control. It can be internal, but communication proactively with the clients, customers, and team members is paramount. If you want to dig a little bit deeper on maintaining sales and profitability in a crisis, go Google Delta Airlines through COVID. They did the best job of monitoring and managing customer relationships during an extremely challenging time where airplanes weren't allowed to fly for a while. Remember how much fun that was? And then the next would be self-management, emotional regulation. Leaders must manage their emotions before they can manage others. And this is easier said than done because leaders are human too. And oftentimes they're called crisis because you haven't been through it before, right? Things where you have repetition and you've got enough reps in, we don't call those things crises anymore. Crises come out of the blue. And oftentimes it's the first time you're going through it. We're humans as leaders, so we may lose it from time to time or become not confident or nervous or scared. The thing here is to be able to have enough emotional intelligence to handle your emotions so that other folks can see that you still have steerage of the ship. Yes, it may be choppy water, but we are going forward and we're going to get through that. Lots of work to be done on EQ. If you if you haven't ever done an EQ assessment, go take one. I'm happy to send you one. There's all kinds of ways out there to do it. Go get a book on EQ, go get a coach on EQ. But the number one superpower for leaders after they have a competence level in the lane of what they're doing becomes emotional intelligence. And emotional regulation is paramount to being able to lead teams. How do you do that? Like I said, no leader handles crises alone. Go get a trusted network. That might be a CEO group. It could be a coach. It could be other business owners. It could be friends who also are in business. It could be EQ assessments, EQ masterminds, things like that. And if you want to dig a little bit deeper on who would be a great example to go learn from, Winston Churchill. As most of you probably know, he was the Prime Minister of England during World War II, and this guy led brilliantly, and he did it by standing in front of his people or his countrymen every single day and letting them know that, yes, times are tough, but remember, he's got the best quotes ever. Go get a Winston Churchill quote book if you want to make yourself have a lot of bravado and feel good about getting through anything. But one of his best was, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself," right? Now, he would say that after walking out of a bunker where the city had been shelled, and he's still letting the team know, countrymen know, we're going to get through this. We are not backing down. Yes, we're having tough days, but onward we go. He kicked in and corralled the Americans into the war to come help him and other coalitions, and he led his team, and he talked to these folks nonstop. Conclusion here on this episode is the best leaders don't react, they adapt, right? Adaptive leadership styles, learning from past crises to try to prepare for the future, using all the tools of EQ. And when you are transparent with your folks, when you have empathy for what they're going through and not trying to use a one-size-fits-all leadership strategy, you will get through the rain and get to the next sunny day. That's it for this episode. Thanks a ton for listening. If you liked it, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and see you next time.